pretty boring RTH, more excitement before the open with CPI, and obviously we did not close that gap or come close to it. So honestly, I don't like trading these days just because of what happened, right? I mean, they gave you a few opportunities. I did take 2 shorts today. One was about 22.5. I didn't get the best fill here. They did come back to tap the 3-day value area low at that rejection, and I was just not near the laptop, but I did take 22.5, I think 3/4 or so. Caught some points on that, made some decent money, but I think there was, you know, if you're playing binary events, you know, there was some clues at one point, you know, breaking that 57 level and below opened up the, you know, can of worms, and then we sold off. So now what you're looking at, when you zoom into this data right here, or at least what I'm looking at, let me just hide this here for a moment. Would you guys agree that this is probably your balance? I mean, if you're to go here, you know, you popped here, you had a little bit of consolidation on this level, let's say here, right? You rejected, you came back, you struggled, you gapped up over, you came back for a bounce. There's a high chance that they're most likely going to be revisiting this level here, because this is your next range that they're looking if they're unable to hold, right? So I would say somewhere around here, right between 59 and then you have 56. It's just structural, right? That they're aiming for, nothing volume profile or TPOs, but that would be the next levels that you're looking. And then when I look at this range, if this is my consolidation that I'm looking at, so it's a little bit something like this, right? Whatever the all-time high is, I think it was 23, like RTH, and I think it's a little bit bigger on ETH. I think it's like 33 or so. Yeah, 34. So this becomes kind of the range that I'm looking at, right? So I'm grabbing the FVP. You can grab it from these little few candles. It wouldn't change much. But if you look right now, right, your first SIG is sitting here. Your first SIG is literally at 93. And this 93 is fairly important as well. I would just make sure that you guys are aware of it and that you're keeping it. Does anyone know what else is 93? I remember it has something to do with the halfback periods.
Wasn't it previous all-time
high? 93, I don't know. It was right here, correct? This was the level that I was talking about. That was previous.
Was that like the breakout?
Let me see if I remember this correctly, what I did. This is March. Yep. Look at that 93. Does it make sense?
The 50%. Yeah.
It was the monthly halfback. Does everybody know what that means?
I don't.
Yeah, so the monthly halfback, LeBron, means it's just the half or 50% of the range of the monthly. And the why do you guys think 50%? You know, 50% is not a fib in itself, but people perceive 50% as a discount or a premium level. So when something's trading at below the 50% and then you reclaim it, like maybe something that happened here and you don't break it the next day, maybe they found value here today, right? You have other time frame buyers stepping in and they're trying to drive the price higher, which happens to be the first SIG too. So now if they can't hold this, let's say 51.93, what would you guys expect?
They're going to go through value in the previous value area.
Yeah, I mean, look at the monthly profile for a second here, if you guys can see it. Here's your monthly profile. I'm on 4 hours. So if they crack this level where they bounced, what's the next zone that you would be targeting? You will have a little bit of
next node,
like 51.38 around there.
Yeah, you will have some here. This was just the protection of the LVN, right? This is where they said, hey, let's just stop here. They were not interested in trading in this area. Obviously, previously, they didn't spend a lot of time there. So now, if they're going to spend some time in this area, right? If they dip below here, that means they're accepting the value lower, and that would be pretty bearish. And then you could potentially anticipate, you know, a little pop and then a drop to the next liquidity zone because they're not happy trading here, right? once they enter the zone, right, if they do crack it, this probably gets filled here. Okay. And then you see this little HVN sitting here right at the 70.5% at 51.40. And I would say that's probably a potential bounce level. But ultimately, you know, considering that this would be the first time, you know, this is our March value area high, and then your March value area low is sitting somewhere right where this zone is a 94. You know, it's not a straight shot. We're talking about monthly time frame. They cracked it. They tried to go above. They got rejected today based off the CPI print, which, you know, binary events can carry a lot of emotions. So now if they're able to defend this, right, and build the value in the upper portion and eventually crack this 52.47, longer time frame, you're turning again bullish. But as of right now, you're accepting value in the previous months. And if you're doing that, there's a high chance of what playing out. You guys ever heard that?
80% rule? The 80% rule.
Yeah. So if they fail this, I would expect that there's a high chance they could do that. Man, you know, you're probably like, man, that's 100 points. Well, tell me more about the 100 points, right? Wouldn't that be like 100 points here? So it's doable, right? They can do it tomorrow. They can do it. And I would gauge, you know, for the level based on today's price action. And I'm gonna zoom in on the daily, just want to give you a higher picture. If you zoom in somewhere here on the dailies, you guys recall 52.16, 15 level anywhere? Anyone? No? Based on daily profiles?
Wasn't that the access low?
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
That is correct, right? And it was in your notes in the Shorty's corner. I mentioned 52.16, and you know, I was pretty adamant that anything below 52.16 is speeds up. Do you guys remember this right here? And then we had the 77 and 87 zone. It was wider zone just because the HVN. But nonetheless, I mean, that's kind of what they executed today, right? So if you turn on the candles and if you go on ETH, well, even here, they came in, I believe, a little bit less than that. They came in right to the 76. My level was 75, 77. So they dipped below and they reclaimed it. But what I was interested in when I was looking at this is, I'm going to hide these candles. I was looking on the dailies, right? So if you look here, we had some access here at 51.96, but this access that was sitting, you see that there was one here, right, at 17, one was at 16. So that means, well, actually, let me ask you, what does that mean to you in terms of price and acceptance and rejection and the strength? What does it mean? This was our 3-day balance. And put it in the perspective that we have new people and they have no idea what you're talking about. So this was our balance. I think I explained this last night. I sent you guys some pictures, right? And they're able to absorb that access right here, which was, I think you had it somewhere here. Maybe it was higher. Maybe I was also on one tick here. Somebody getting chased by the cups. Fine. That's probably true.
Well, it definitely looks like they didn't accept that balance, and if all those were excess high was absorbed, then looks like they're definitely trying to seek price lower.
Yeah. So think about something when you don't like something at value. Let's say I'm offering you to buy my mouse for $5,000. Would $4,995 be okay for you guys?
Crazy.
Is it autographed?
It is by Shorty.
Other time frame
So
buyers
when you're not finding
or sellers, I mean.
if you're not deviating from something value so much, that doesn't mean you're gonna find. If you're breaking a value of 3 days, it needs to be a break, and you need to go away from the value. But what they did here, where did they close? How did they, how did they operate today? Did they close far from open? Or was it just the gap that was the problem?
Look like a choppy day.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Didn't close very far. It kind of stayed in a tight range.
So they bounced off the, the monthly halfback, which is sitting there 93. And they did not break the balance with, of course they gapped down within the bracket. And now they're not too far from it, which is indicating that they're finding value here between whatever that was, 76 overnight, right? And I guess 215. They're finding value here. And if you want to go higher, which I was trying to show you here, if you want to go higher here, right? We had this period of access on this day, I believe it was Tuesday. So this was our access here, 17 was our buying access, and the selling came in here, right, with this candle, and they basically absorbed all of the selling right here. Then they had some pushback from TPOC at that time, I believe. And then you see, what did they do the rest of the day? I mean, this is a pretty shit to trade. And some of you that are new, I know you have a lot of eagerness to trade every day, but the only way you're going to become trusting and confidence in yourself is when you can take a day off and be okay not trading in front of the screens and, enjoy life, do something else. You have to learn to take days off and kind of reward yourself. And I think a lot of you guys are just, you spending nonstop in front of the screen doesn't equate to growth for every hour that you spend. Sometimes relaxing and thinking about it later on, a day or two after, probably also good for you. And somebody needs to go on mute. Okay. So for tomorrow, how would you trade it here? I covered some points in terms of price and value. We broke the 3-day value, but we did not go far. And when you talk about the value shift, did the value shift happen between the day to day? Yeah. How's the volume? Did anyone check on the daily?
Looks pretty low.
Okay. I would say it's above average, but right, you have a wick on the top, you have a wick on the bottom, right, and you're kind of closing there a little bit higher, right? So to me,
Sorry, I was looking at a different.
you're probably looking at this one here. This is today's.
Yeah, it was not. I was looking at Nasdaq and on a different. It was wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So we did not break much yet to turn extremely bearish. For me, where it turns bearish is, let's say they knock tomorrow and they want to try to take away the access that we have on the daily, because there's a little bit of access now in opposite direction, right? We had the buyers access, right? Unfair low. Now we have in place of that, what do we have?
Excess high.
We have access high where we had other time frame buyers. You have what?
Time frame sellers.
And what do I say about other time frame buyers and sellers exchanging hands?
They usually don't.
They usually
They don't cross.
They don't do that. Is there a chance that they might? Yeah, there's a chance, right? Some people, hedge funds or whatever they're doing, they might, but something doesn't make sense, right? So if they can, let's say they quickly reclaim, I don't know where we are after hours. If they quickly reclaim this 206, there's no reason for me not to turn a little bit of bullish, right? You'd be about POC, and especially dependent where we open. If we open above the POC, what would that tell you tomorrow?
Might go up.
Well, it's
That'd be
indicating,
bullish.
yeah, it'll be a little bit more bullish. And then once they crack this, let's say 10 to 16 probably happens super quick because that's no volume here, right? Not a lot of time spent, probably not a lot of volume, and they can crank it up. If they're able to absorb this area here, and I tried to draw this area to be as, it was basically supposed to be this, but now I can because this shifted, is because this was our access low, and now this is where the access high is crossing. So you have two levels, right? Once they are able to absorb this, let's say tomorrow, If they do this, what would you target?
PDH.
That CPOC
PDH is a
right
good
up
answer.
there.
You will have PDH, and then above PDH, what I would typically do in something like this, the same balance that we had the 3-day balance on before, is there a rule that says I can't find the value area low of that one?
No, that would be good too.
Well, that would be a solid play, right? If you want to know where the 3-day value area is, I might just have to use SVP because I don't know if this TPO stuff is slow or is it my computer. So let's say we do this area right now. We'll just zoom out a little bit and hide this. If you guys look at this now. So zoom in and just look at it. So this is your 3-day value. The POC is high and you went bottom, but what's at the bottom? What is being made here?
Double distribution.
Double distribution.
Nice
look-
big shelf.
Yeah, look at the double distribution. So if they're able to crack here, this level, please don't be stubborn. Don't be stubborn in a way that you're trying to short every pop, because what you're gonna be doing, you're gonna be fueling this. Okay, it might be slow, but it'll get there. If they're able to reclaim 16, high chance they will hit the PDH, right? And you guys can mark that on your level, and that would be a pretty good level to take some profits. Right, when I take some profits, if you're playing multi-packs or SPX or whatever you're playing, you have multiple, you want to trim your position. A lot of you will not become a millionaire off of one trade. You will not become rich off one trade. Just
Shorty, in this example, are you taking the PDH of the RTY session or of the ETH?
Well, suppose I think they popped first, right?
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Because they hit the 85. I think this was our CPOC of 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I think also value area high somewhere here. I have it on another chart, right? I use 2 charts at the same time for ES. One is kind of bigger, one is balance level trading. And I'm on balance level now because we were very close. I would use RTH on this. I don't like binary, so I would most likely use this right here, which is 26.5 seems like right now. Yep. I would use this because, I mean, to get to the 85, I mean, I think this is a good intermediate target. 10 points here, and then you would have between 26 and 38 would be a level, because this CPOC here is pretty heavy, right? This is all the way from March 7th, so a little bit over a month, and if they can't, and they're holding this first sig here, I mean, they're really, really into it. And if they can hold this tomorrow, I would most likely start entering long at 206, and depending on how the candles are formed and how the footprints look. And then I would target 16. Let's say I buy a 3-pack, trim 2, and then keep 1 for 52.38 with proper trailing, right? Just to make sure I can catch the whole move. But that's what I'm watching. And then if you see, let's say they pop above this level here tomorrow. But this is going to be a battleground tomorrow. It was today as well. They're telling you, well, when you think about this, right? Terms of price and value today. If you guys go here, let me just look. Here's your value area high, and here's your value area low. What is the price and value telling you in this chart?
Looks really undecisive.
Now tell me who found what.
To me, it looks like they found value.
Okay, but anytime the price went up to the extreme above today's value, what happened?
Slapped it down. Got that pee slap.
They said, hey, your value is lower. Anytime they popped below the value today, what did they do?
They defended it.
They defended it. So they're pretty much telling you, for now, this is our value, right? This is where we're happy. This is where a lot of time's been spent. I mean, even, it doesn't take much, but here's your volume. It looks perfect D distribution to me, right? And it did close a little bit more, on the bear side towards the lower extreme. So if tomorrow, if they crack 51.93, We're most likely gonna visit 51.76, and then I would target somewhere between 62 and 59 to be the next level to hit. And I'll most likely use targets on a weekly time frame to determine a little bit more on that. And also make sure that you know where your March value area low is, right? I would definitely make sure it's 15.94 1/4. So I would encourage you guys to have that on your charts. Okay, so tomorrow battleground is this, right? If they can crack 93, high chance we might auction lower. They crack 16, they go PDH, and then this zone here of 39, I think it was 36, 30, yeah. Because our breakdown point today was 34 for me, 34.25, if I remember correctly. And they obviously cracked that. But now if they reclaim this PDH, CPOC, and then ultimately 52, 56 would be the final target for tomorrow. If they want to get wild, you're targeting somewhere towards, this level here, 52.68. And then I'll be targeting above this right here, 52.83. Any questions?
Can you do NASDAQ?
Yeah, we can do NASDAQ, but everybody understand the plan here. The weekly is setting up for a double distribution. So remember, my one rule on double distributions is if you break this volume node below, don't look to buy dips too much. Right, this would be a weekly, value shift lower, right? And then it would be a weekly double distribution trend day, most likely once you crack the lows. If they're able to crack this, we go most likely, end of the week, we're gonna be here or higher. Clear?
Yes.
NQ. Well, I would say NQ did something that ES did not do yet, which is what?
Shorty, can I ask a quick question about the other one? You don't need to go back. If we
Sorry.
pop above the 17, which we're looking at as the high, if it pops above that and fails, we treat that just like any old normal high failure to
Yeah,
short.
That'd be a really good short.
Okay.
For me, I would take that because that would mean the access sellers that were there on the unfair high are present and they're defending. And I'm just looking
Well,
at
I'm talking not even 26. What if it just goes over 17 and fails?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. 17.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, sorry. 17. If they crack above and fail, that's a good short. Because that means that seller that was there that initiated this is present. And I would jump in with him. And there's not much access here. Sitting at one weekly at 79. That's 3 TPOs on the weeklies. Yeah. Not that exciting. And it looks like they might do some work tonight. This candle here in 30 minutes does not look convincing for bulls right now. I mean, you do not want to go long until they crack, I would say, this high right now, which is equal highs at 202. I would have no interest taking anything long until they crack about this. Call it 206, 207. Okay. All right, for my drug addicts. All right, and I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about this, and NQ, like I said, did something that ES has yet to do, which is
The 80%?
well, they completed the whole 80%, guys. This is your March, right? And if you guys look at it, if this was our March value area high, which was there. Let's see, let's mark this. This is our March, this is our value area low. They went above, and then 80% rule starts once you come back, and look where they rejected today. And almost perfect, right? And then they popped below and they continued all the way to this zone that we had. So for me, if you think about this, how this one looks compared to ES, I don't know if anyone disagrees, but I would consider that this was our previous breakout level. If you just look at the price action, they came here, right? They traded in this balance for some time. And now, this was our POC right here. for, I believe, February, right? So this is a heavy zone, right? You have February, and do you guys recall when we talked about this, that this was a loaded zone for NQ? I don't know if
I got a March value low down there too.
yeah, I mean, it is,
It's like
stacked.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're able to crack through this, well, let's mark them all so you guys can see what I'm talking about. If you're able to crack through this, right, and then you have, you know, February POC here, there's a lot of extreme levels here, and they're, you know, big boy levels. We'll just put this one on the bottom. So if you look at this, I mean, there's a ton here. Do you really want to short here? Like, I personally would not short
No.
this, you know, until this is, you know, Feb POC is not cracked, because there's a tons of traps here. And to me, I would say NQ looks bullish. It completed the March PO 80% rule, and now, you know, it's not bearish. Why would somebody think it's bearish? They brought it back inside the value and they're trading here. Unless you reject this value, you do not have a place to short here. I will not be looking short until this is where a lot of people are going to lose their funds. In this area, they're going to try to short the hole here, and they're going to go and regret, you know, the day they started.
At what point in this, because I see a whole bunch of lines all everywhere, at what point would you say we give up the ghost and we short it through this zone?
So through this zone, we have to lose. For me to short out, you know, and I'm talking about longer point. I'm not talking about scalping 20 points on an
Okay.
entry that we see intraday. I'm talking more like I wouldn't be bearish until they crack this level here. I would be
Okay.
looking to short the rips as once they crack below this, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That would mean the value has shifted dramatically. You rejected the March, so now you gotta be looking for other extremes, right? And when you think about that, that extreme is, you know, a couple of 100 points away. So I would not turn bearish till we crack this. And you see the node, obviously, that we have almost for a month and a half or so. You go here, this node here is pretty damn heavy. First sig, so now where do you turn more bullish, right? The other time frame buyers are stepping in a little bit, and we'll take a look at it on a daily, how excessive they are and how aggressive they are. But now if they're able to, let's say, crack this POC here at 18,290, well, your bias turns bullish, but your, you know, your reward for longs gets what? Would you rather buy here or above here? I mean, different flavors, different people, right? I would rather take a risk somewhere here if they come at the March value area low, then I would go here. If I'm buying here, I'm looking to exit here. If they pop above this, right? Typically what they like to do is, let's say they pop here. I would take this long here at 294. I would look to hit this then here. But this zone here has to be cracked for you to turn bearish and value to shift. You're in balance on the monthly here, right? I would be, you know, do we have news tomorrow or something coming out tomorrow again?
Yeah, PPI.
Yeah, so fun. If they crack through this zone tomorrow, sometimes they like to sell it lower so they can buy more, right? If they know some other stuff's coming. So we got to see if they gap down over this level. And then let's say they gap down over this level and they reclaim that level, be careful. Because then, promise, it can be.
Shorty, I got a question. 15 minutes before we have jobless and PPI, we have ECB interest rate decision from the EU.
Yep.
Is that enough to make a impact for us?
I think it's enough to make a trap. I don't think America cares financially and monetary at this time too much about ECB. Does it impact US? Yeah, but I hate to say it, but I would say America controls this financial monetary system completely at the moment. And they're going to do what's in interest to keep it that way, in my opinion. So can they impact us? Sure. Yeah, I'm not saying, I'm not discounting, you know, what they do, but I think it's going to be used more as a trap than it's going to be used as a mover. So here's your access. And that came in the A period. Interesting. You guys notice that?
Yeah, we didn't dip below.
And on this one here, Actually, really opposite, I think, of what ES did. Do you guys see what happened here?
Almost bullish, it defended.
Where did you open? You opened here. And you basically spent majority of your time above the open. And you
Mhm.
closed higher there, right? And then if you go on ES, and you look at this, let's see. So I'm just gonna hide there so you guys can see it. So we opened here, and where do we close? Right here, right?
Just below, yep.
So which one's more confident?
NQ is more bullish.
NQ is more
If
bullish.
you can say
Nasdaq.
that.
Yeah, so NQ is a little bit more bullish, and that's what, I honestly think that they can push NQ a little bit more and drag ES with it. As NQ completed 80%, they are entering a zone where you're expecting to see. Are you expecting to see initiative buyers here, initiative seller? Who are we expecting to see? Who are you expecting to see in this
The
zone?
responsible.
Responsive buyers.
You want to see responsive buyers. It's not you're not expecting to see initiative because your trend has obviously been rockets, right? I mean, it's been higher. Now they're just taking a little break. So here you're expecting to see responsive activity and they're giving it to you. And what other people are doing here is they're loading up the shorts. Can this change tomorrow with the binary event of PPI? Yeah, of course. If they gap down under it, I promise you, if they reclaim this, if they gap down and they do this, go ahead and short it and just let me know how you did. It can probably go 300 points if it does that. You know how many bears would be upset? I'm sorry, but if you're a perma bear, you would be crying the whole day. Most likely would be buying a monitor or two. So definitely watch for that on the trap. But to me right now, I would say this this looks pretty bullish on NQ. I don't know how the PPI is going to react, right? That's kind of the binary factor. But as of right now, it looks bullish. They had a true gap. They never filled it. And on daily now, once we get the low, there it goes.
Look at the TPO, yeah.
Yeah, zooming in a little bit. So we have access high. That's pretty good, lift here. Right. So
Depending on how things go, I would kind of almost expect them to like fill that gap in the morning that they drop down on.
yeah, I mean, so for me, if they can absorb this area here, right? If they can absorb 225, and I know we're far away, I don't know where we are right now. Take a look at it. 220, I mean, that's what, 60 points away, right? At 60 something points. So if they can crack over this, let's say PPI or not, they have a strong chance to push this 70 or more points and retrace the sell-off. I mean, think about
and add that in with what you said earlier about NQ being possibly able to pull ES up. That's a good chance that.
But what if they push back the market down so ES completes the March value or low, which would be a decent drop of 100 points on ES? And
Anything can happen.
Although they could make this so trappy for next couple of days that
For the past couple days back there, you've got single prints that are still below what we're at.
Which ones?
If you go back to
Are you talking about this one?
I'm talking about like April 5th, and April 4th.
April 5th. Okay, 4th.
And 4th, looking at their TPOs. Yeah.
I mean, this to me, and remember, this was a weird structural day when you look at it, right? I mean, I didn't even mark these because look, like what do you mean mark? Like 45,000 levels of single prints?
But on that one day, we hit the M period going all the way down to the bottom, and then as soon as it hit that level, it shot up on the N period that on the 4th.
Yep, and if you look here, you still have this tiny division, but there's not enough TPOs for me to call this separation of value. It's only 2 TPOs wide, right? Some people be like, man, that's a double issue. Nah, I can't count this, right? They can slice through this just as quickly. So I agree, right? They have a little bit of access here on Fed value area high. So the way I could see this playing out, and I'm thinking, scenarios that I can expect. If ES was to drop to 100 points, but then we drop from, wherever we are right now to this level here, 18,074, which would be, if they drop this here tomorrow again, and let's say they dip a little bit more, and they give you a chance to line up where ES is at the March value area low, and this is coming up here as well. Because NQ had a better date, man. That's setting up for a really good bullish setup. And a lot of people is gonna, they're gonna be on the wrong side. And I know this is a wide range of 50 points, but I would pay attention as we're approaching 40 to 22. If I can get a fill somewhere in here, I don't need size here, guys. And a lot of you guys are like, man, I want a 10 pack here. Well, if you don't need a 10 pack, right? If you just catch this, let's say here, and you catch something like this, how many points can you afford? It depends on your account and what sizing you use. But even if you use what is this on NQ, M and Q, you could afford, I don't know, you could afford 40 points on NQ, I would think, right? Wouldn't that be what, $200?
On an MNQ, 40 points is $80.
$80, okay. So I think $80 is doable to catch 250. Yeah, that would be okay. So just think about, the ratio and the setup that we might see on this tomorrow. So I would, and then this would be my level I'm watching, 8225, similar setup to what we have on ES, right? It's just that, above 8203, there's a chance, but I wouldn't want to play here where they had a bunch of other time frame sellers. Once you crack over this, you have a PDH area here, not too far, but then ultimately you're targeting this. As long as they're holding, I would say tomorrow, they're not cracking below this level of, what is this, 18140. That's pretty bullish, right? They cannot crack this at open tomorrow or tomorrow at all. If they do, then I would say they're a little bit of trouble, and most likely we hit the bottom again here.
You're using the open on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
This would be my zone to watch tomorrow for bullish feedback. I mean, but this is pretty rangy here. And I would think that a lot of people got destroyed here on shorting. I mean, just think about this. If you're coming here, right, you go above, you get these nasty 2 candles or 3 crows, or what is it, 3 black, I forgot the names of them. 3 black crows, I believe. And you get these, you get a nasty reverse candle and you go to the opposite direction. Man, you gotta feel bad for the people, right? And it's a good setup to short, right? You take
I was
this,
loving it.
you can short this above. As soon as you see this right here, immediately rejection, and then once the value is established, and if you split this into a zone, they're telling you, here's your high zone right here, sitting at 207. Anything below that looks like it's gonna go down. And then I would say anything probably somewhere around here, I would be closing it at 40 or so. But they're just barcoding today. And on a gap down, most of the time, most people would expect that they're going to have a true trend down. So the liquidity, if somebody's selling and these people are buying, they might be accumulating off of a key level. Does that make sense? Because you're selling into a hole. You're selling your inventory, and these people are just, look, buy, 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 buy.
Like, thank you.
Yep. I mean, they're just taking your money, literally. So that's, I'm honestly bullish for, I hate the PPIs tomorrow. I wish it wasn't, but I'll be really bullish if it wasn't. So, and don't take this like, oh, Shorty said bullish. I don't know if PPI, fuck that. Like, I don't
Coming in hot and we're dropping.
Who knows, right? I mean, they've been playing these news, dude. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I go to fucking grocery store, nothing is dropping. Like,
Nope.
our bills just keep fucking skyrocketing at the grocery stores. So they can measure
Yeah, same here.
all day want, but when the people feel the pressure, that's, you know, people will scream eventually. So. Alright, well, I might leave a long here at 8164 overnight or a little bit lower. There's a little imbalance sitting right here that I'm gonna watch for. Somewhere around here, I'm gonna look to see, you know, get a long here, maybe put a stop loss 10 points below. Take this long overnight and see if, I mean, even if I trade till 8:30, if I can catch a pump of 30 points, I'll take it with target of 203. Okay, I'll be on tomorrow and I'll see you guys. Well, let's see what PPI brings. I might not trade the PPI, let them settle, maybe set up the IB and then trade from there.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Shorty.
Good
What
night.
would your target be for that long you're leaving overnight?
Say it again?
What would your target be for that long that you're leaving overnight?
203.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
be something, if I can catch this. If you're patient, you can do this. I would do something like this. I would play it this way.
Wow. Okay.
But who knows, right? I'm expecting that we're gonna have some overnight inventory fix.
For sure. Get out of the way soon.
Alright, well, thank you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.
Thanks, Shorty.
Later, Shorty.
Thank you.